We fought for our freedom, and ideally we would never have to again. But we don't live in an ideal world. Pity those that come to Kohold with ill intent to its people. Vaius Broadgaze, matriarch of Kohold. Before the Cataclysm, Kohold was known as the Holdfast. It had the highest population of Dragonborn and Dragonkin of anywhere on Ethelkar. They had been determined to make it a worthy home for the people who consider themselves second only to the dragons themselves. While the dragons still thought of them as little folk, they were granted more freedoms on Holdfast than the other sentient beings were in the rest of the Dragon Empire. Here, they were exempt from the caste system that the dragons imposed on the rest of their domains. After the Cataclysm, they saw themselves as the natural successors to the dragons, but lacked the numbers anywhere but Holdfast to enforce their rule. This was largely because Holdfast, being a generally more attractive place to live, didn't leave many of their kin in the rest of the Dragon Empire. As a result, the Dragonborn and Dragonkin set about making Holdfast a limited restoration of the former glory of their empire. By and large, they succeeded, and it had a higher standard of living than most other parts of Ethelkar. The issue was that they accomplished this on the backs of the Kobolds, who had come to Holdfast for similar reasons as the Dragonborn and Dragonkin. The subjugation of the Kobolds lasted until approximately 2,000 years ago, when they rebelled and drove the Dragonborn and Dragonkin off the island. From that point forward, Holdfast would be known as Kohold. Afterward, the removal of the educated elite left a vacuum that was unable to be filled. The various factions, no longer united against a common enemy, split. This resulted in a period of chaos as society restructured itself. After about 200 years, Kohold stabilized, and several nations emerged. Approximately 1800 years ago, as the civilizations of Tabios started to explore the world, the Kobolds found it beneficial to have a more open lines of communication with each other. This gradually became a single political union around 1,000 years ago, similar to the Iroquois Confederation in the real world. The Kobolds jealously guarded their freedom, but recognized that they were stronger together. Over the last millennium, the government has shifted several times, but the collective voice has always won through in the end. Currently, there is a hereditary matriarch that is largely symbolic and answers to the council of elders from the various nations and clans. Someone who visited Kohold, it would appear to be sparsely populated and primitive land. And truth is that the Kobolds are highly innovative, but have taken a different technological path than others, and don't have as high of regard for how something looks, and tend never to throw away anything that might be useful, leading to a very haphazard aesthetic. Coupled with the fact that most of the population lives underground, it has made it an unattractive target for the Illithid and Yakfolk slavers. All they might see are small fishing villages on the shore, hardly worth the trip. Should an invader ever get into the interior or underground, they would be confronted with innumerable fixed-position defenses and traps. If one is injured, there are few better places for it to happen than Kohold. The Kobolds have access to the normal range of healing spells as others do, but do not rely on them as much because they have developed some of the best medical techniques on Ethelkar. Urds, or winged kobolds, are a rarity that don't appear with any specific rhyme or reason as to where they're hatched. Unlike on other worlds, however, Urds are not resented, most likely due to the separation from the traditional pantheons where this prejudice comes from.